श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्किक केसरी वेदांताचार्य वर्यो में सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि श्रीवासरंग परकाल मुनित्रयाप्त लक्ष्मात्मरक्षण इत्युद्योगागमान्तम् आचार्य भक्ति परिपूतमनर्गशीलं गोपालदेशिक मुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे सुखतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूति ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम. So we have been enjoying a kind of essence of Srimad BAGAVATGITA, and so mercifully, with full of compassion, given by our Gitacharyan Lord Sri Krishna for the sake of humanity, for each one of us. He took an opportunity, he took Arjuna's confused state as an excuse, as a pretext to burst out with the Vedanta Shastrartha Vishayams, which is nothing other than the Upanishad, nothing other than the Lord's mind, Tiruvullam, what is running in his mind. So which is exactly in accordance with the Vedas and the Upanishads. So it is our Parama Bhagyam to go through the essence of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We went through the first chapter and the second chapter in the last few weeks. The second chapter was actually on Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya means the knowledge, correct knowledge. So we came to know about the distinguishing, the difference between the body and the soul. And he kind of started off with the Karma Yoga in that. In the third chapter, he is continuing with Karma Yoga. As I mentioned a few weeks back when we started the whole session, there is a section, there is a stotra called Gitartha Sangraha, blessed to us by Sri Yamunacharya. Gitartha Sangraham is the summary of Gita, where he gives in one sloka the entire 18 chapter summary. In the second sloka, he gives the first 6 chapter summary. In the third sloka, the second 6 chapter, and the fourth sloka, the third 6 chapter. So the first 6 chapters basically talk about the Karma Jnana Yoga, whereas the second 6 chapters describe about the Bhakti Yoga. So the Karma Yoga, which culminates into the Jnana Yoga, the result of which will result in the devotee to pursue Bhakti Yoga, to attain moksha, is the Acharya's commentary. So now we will touch upon this Karma Yoga. Basically here, Swami Yamunacharya mentions in this Gitartha Sangraha, in the 7th slokam, which is the 3rd chapter, refers to the 3rd chapter. Asakya loka rakshayai guneshwaropya kartrutam sarveshwarevanyasyokta tritiye karma karyata. Here he says asakya loka rakshayai guneshwaropya kartrutam. It gives the summary of the 3rd chapter. The entire 3rd chapter is in this sloka. First we will look at the summary at the 10,000 feet. Then we will look at the 3rd chapter at 1,000 feet. Then we will look at the individual few slokas so that we get the grasp of the 3rd chapter. Asakya loka rakshayai guneshu aropya kartrata sarveshwareva nyasyokta tritiye karma karyata. Here he says, if a person is well equipped to practice Jnana Yoga, his not practicing Karma Yoga may not impede or retard his own spiritual progress. So what it means to say is, Loka Rakshaya, Asta, here Asaktya, Loka Rakshaya, Asaktya, accepting the delectation of Bhagavan, having no desire for any other result such as the Swargam or whatever, for the protection of the world, Loka Rakshaya, in order to protect the world. Protect the world is involved, like suppose a person is highly elevated in spiritual knowledge, he is well placed to practice Jnana Yoga, meditation on the Jivatma, on the Atma. If he is able to meditate, practice Jnana Yoga, and he will not be impeded, or he will not be stopped because he is not practicing Karma Yoga. Definitely. But he should practice Karma Yoga. Why? You are confusing. No. If he gives up Karma Yoga, if the Jnani, the exalted soul, the Jnani, the one who is spiritually elevated, someone like a Rishi or Guru or a sage, someone who is a scholar, who is able to practice Jnana Yoga, meditate on the Jivatma, on the Atma, and if he does that, the Tom, Dick and Harry, an ordinary individual, will look at him and say, oh, that scholar is following, he is sitting, he is thinking, he is meditating, he is doing Jnana Yoga, so I will also do. So others will follow in his footsteps, and they will also not practice Karma Yoga. Though they are not properly equipped to practice Jnana Yoga. They are not that scholarly. They are not knowledgeable. They cannot even control their senses. How can they do Jnana Yoga? You have to do your duty. That is Karma Yoga, simple. And that is, if they switch over to Jnana Yoga without being well equipped, it will befall harm on them. And because of their safety, a scholar, a sage, a jnani should practice Karma Yoga. Krishna tries to say here. And that's what is in this third chapter. Now let's look at, this is the 10,000 feet as I was mentioning. Let's look at the third chapter as a summary. We will look at the details later. So, here, a casual person who reads this chapter will get confused at the apparent contradictions. First, he tries to push or influence or goad Krishna to fight. Then he proceeds to advise him to act, fight with right knowledge, Sankhya in the last chapter. With the right knowledge about the body, the Atma, the knowledge of the difference between the body and the self, soul. In other words, he seemed to indicate that the knowledge about body, Atma, is more important than doing karma. He seems to indicate Krishna. But then he is asking Arjuna to fight without being preoccupied with the result. Nishkamya, karmanyevadikaraste mahapaleshu kadachana. Do not attach yourself to the result. Perform your action. At one stage, he says, jnana, body, self, soul. And Arjuna felt that he could not do so. Krishna advised him not to give up fighting. So, the first 6 chapters is on the Karma Jnana Yoga. So Arjuna confronts Krishna with a lot of questions. We know that we have a body. We know that it functions because there is an Atma surrounded or occupied by the body. The Atma is the one which supports the body, which directs the body, which is the master of the body. However, it is not visible to our direct vision. So the chapter 3 to 6, 3, 4, 5, 6 explains how to see the soul, how to visualize the soul, the Atma, the Jivatma. Like any sincere student, Arjuna got confused at the seemingly conflicting advice. A careful reader will realize as Krishna tries to build brick by brick. He builds up his arguments to say brick by brick. And through small incremental doses, he tries to cure the confusion from Arjuna's mind. So Arjuna confronts, is it knowledge or is it action? Is both should be practiced together? If so, how? Is it possible to renounce both? If you deem Jnana Yoga as superior, higher, elevated than Karma Yoga, why are you pushing me into performing the lower one, Karma Yoga, which is to cruelly fight, killing my own relatives and acharyas and grandfather and everyone? And how is it conducive to see, the visualize the soul? These are the questions he asked. Ramanuja says, Kimartam gore karmani sarvendriya vyapara rupe atma avalokana virodini karmani mam niyojasam. In Gita Bhashya, he seems to ask Arjuna, it cannot be said that karma will confer any spiritual benefit. Cannot be said. So, here Arjuna has not understood the import, the importance, the commentary of Karma Yoga. So here, Karma Yoga is to be understood. Krishna says that Karma Marga, Karma Yoga, do your duty without attachment to the result, is for the beginner who has not yet controlled his senses. More applicable to me. Not able to control my senses at all, at any time. And for whom the doing action is instinctive and easy. While Jnana Marga is difficult. It is for the advanced, elevated, contemplative practitioner who has already controlled his senses, who is able to tame his senses. One goes to school to study. You should do primary 1, primary 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, secondaries, university, step by step. You cannot say, I will jump straight into the junior college from the kindergarten. It's not possible. Krishna says, Lokesmin dvivida nishtaha pura prokto maya anaga jnana yogena sankhyana karma yogena yogina. He says, O blemishless, perhaps you have not understood well what I have taught you. There is no contradiction between the two paths. Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga suited for different classes of participants were explained by me without any mix-up. The person having no stock of papams is eligible to practice Karma Yoga. He who has stored much merit, punyam, can practice Jnana Yoga. Therefore, two yogas were talked about to suit the respective groups. So, there is no contradiction. He who jumps into Jnana Yoga without practicing Karma Yoga is a mithya achara, a person of false behavior. He says, mithya achara. In 6th slokam, karmendriyani samyamya aste manasa smaran indriya arthan vimudhatma mithya sa uchyate. A person of false behavior. Uttamur Swami, a great acharya, lived in the last century. He quotes Ramanuja's Gita Bhashya and Swami Desika's Tatparya Chandrika and mentions that it is a 7-tier approach, 7-step approach. One is karma anushtana, One has to adhere to the performance of karma, to Bhagavat Preeti. The karma is to please the God. It has to be done with love. It has to be done as an arpanam, as an offering, as a samarpanam to the Lord. 3. Eliminating the rajogunam and tamogunam. Thereby the sattva gunam increases. 4. Vairagya, the detachment. Ragam means desire. Viragam means no desire. Vairagyam is detaching from the desire. 5. Indriya jayam. Indriya means senses, controlling, victory over the senses. 6. Yearning, zealous, enthusiastically trying to look into the Atma, know the nature of Jivatma. And 7. Jnana Nishta, Jnana Yoga. So running away from action is not the way to reach perfection in this. First is karma anushtana. It's required. Though one may control senses, but does not control his mind from sensual objects, he is vimudhatma, Krishna says. Indriyarthan vimudhatma, mityachara. He is a person of false behavior. He is a fool and a cheater, mityapchara. We may control outwardly the activities, but if we do not restrain the desire which impels them, which pull them, we have failed to grasp the true meaning of control. In any case, inaction means absence of action. Renunciation of action is not the option. We have to act. Renunciation of attachment to the fruits is what is advised and prescribed by Krishna. So, doing nothing is not right. But one does not gain jnana by giving up karma. There cannot be a single moment when a living being stops doing anything. Thinking or speaking or talking or doing whatever. One living being has to do some action. Moreover, inactivity is the characteristic of achetana, insentient. So, Krishna further tells that look at me. I don't have to do any action. I don't have to do any work. Still, I have to do. Arjuna, I, the omniscient, the sarvajna, the sarvashaktan, having all my wishes fulfilled always, there is nothing I need to get fulfilled. I do not have anything to accomplish. Still, every day I perform the daily duties, daily rites, for the sake of whom? The humanity. They will follow me. For example, even Krishna, at the end of the day in the battlefield, after Arjuna walks back to the pavilion, to his camp, Krishna takes the horses, cleans them, washes the horses, because the dust is all there, gives the horses the water, the grass, and tries to massage its neck, its back. It tries to assuage the pain it had during the day. Why should he do? Because his duty as a charioteer has to be performed. If I do not perform the task, the work, taking me as an example, others will stop performing the action. And thereby they will be ruined. Not me, they will be ruined. If they do nothing, they will not progress. Then I end up as the one who brought destruction, ruin to all the people. So, being Arjuna, Pandava Putra, Yudhishthira brother, you are well known as morally distinguished. Hence, you should practice Karma Yoga. Arjuna says, Madhusudana, among the practitioners of Karma Yoga, what is the difference between those who know the nature of the Atma, that it is different from the body, and those who do not know? how to implement the concept of viewing myself that I am not the doer. I am confused. Can you please explain? We will look at the question, the slokas later. I just want to give the summary. Krishna says, only he who has not realized the essential nature of the Atma considers the body as the Atma, and he thinks himself as the author of the action, as the doer of the action. I did, I do. So, I am the one who stopped the war. I am the one who is going to talk about the peace. I am the one who is going to destroy Iran. People who talk like that. In fact, the person who knows the truth regarding the Atma realizes that the Prakriti, the gunas, Sattva gunam, Rajasa gunam, Tamasa gunam, the three gunas, we are always under the influence of the gunas, three gunas. And the three gunas influence based on our purva karma vasanas. And because of that, these gunas influence us because of our past actions. What we sow, so you reap. Pirakkinna murpagal seyin tamakkinna pirpagal tame varum. If you harm somebody in the morning, the harm will come to you in the afternoon on its own. You don't have to even welcome it. It will come on its own. Morning, afternoon is only figurative. It is now and later. It was yesterday and today. Or it was last birth or now. Whatever. It's all Triguna Sambandham because of our karma vasanas. So the three gunas are the ones which are doing their respective duties because of the karma. So you do not develop any pride of doership, of ownership, that you are the doer in relation to the action of the gunas. Today we are able to recite Vishnu Sahasranama, we are able to attend this session, we are able to get a glimpse of the Bhagavad-gita because of some Purva Janma Punya that we did, because of the Sattva Guna which is slightly getting more influenced, because of the Rajoguna and Tamoguna which are slightly pushed down, and the same Rajoguna and Tamoguna which will crop up, which will pop up, and it will ask us to stop these things and look at the phone, look at the Netflix, look at something else, scrolling, do something, or taste some mirchi fries, whatever. So the taste, the actions, whatever is influenced by the three gunas. So Arjuna says, Krishna says, Arjuna, thinking of me as the one who does the sankalpam based on your karma, influence these gunas to act on it, to make you do it. Think of me as the one who takes the sankalpam for all the actions, and offer all your actions which are performed by these gunas to me. Offer it to me. Don't attach yourself to the fruits of the action, or don't think that you are the doer. You consider me as the supreme, considering them as the act of worship of me, without any desire for the fruits. So, if you do that, you will not have the attachment of ownership of the action. Without any anxiety, engage yourself in this warfare, battlefield. Whatever happens is an offering to me. This is Sattvic renunciation. Arjuna says, Rishikesha. Rishikesha means the Lord who controls the senses. That's the meaning of Rishikesha. So he rightly calls him Rishikesha. Is that your final view? What does it achieve? You tell me. Arjuna, this is the meaning of the Upanishad, not my view. It's the meaning in the Vedanta, Upanishad. Whoever believes in my view, in this Upanishad, and faithfully follows this, will attain moksha. finally. Even if you are unable to put this into practice, if you believe this, if you retain this faith in you, you will ultimately lead to moksha. All these persons will get liberated from all the karmas, ultimately. On the other hand, whoever does not perform the work as offering to me, or does not have faith, they are completely foolish and they will come back to the samsara again and again. So Arjuna again says, Krishna, Jnana Yoga cannot be performed easily. So he is going back to Jnana Yoga because he wants to take the easy route. Why to get into the fight, bleed, do action? I will sit and do Jnana Yoga. Cannot be done easily. Partha, no. It is not easy to practice. Even he who has knowledge about the Jivatma, which itself is difficult, but he can get active in matters connected with the material world under the influence of his karma vasana. So he will not be able to practice Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga is far, far superior in terms of doing. It's easy, simple. Just do your work. Do your duty, what you are destined to do. Whether you are a student or a householder, or regardless of you are destined to do something in your birth, in your varnashrama. Do that. And a dharma, it will bring, if you do your swadharma, then it will bring closer to its nature, easy to practice. Jnana Yoga is a dharma which is not natural to you, to us, difficult to practice. So Arjuna says, a person not desirous of sensual pleasure, if he is engaged in Jnana Yoga, still returns to the sin of gratification of sense objects, as if he is compelled to do so. By whom he is compelled? So he is asking a good question. Even if you try to do dhyana for 5 minutes in the morning, not able to do. Somebody is making coffee in the kitchen, it pulls you away. Even while doing dhanam, your mind wanders everywhere, to IPL, to Iran, to everything. So the ancient ingrained tendencies caused by rajas generate the desire of the sense objects. So the desire is a well-fed enemy. That's why Avayar says, Ashayarimin, Ashayarimin, Ishanodayunum, Ashayarimin. Get rid of the desire from the root. The desire drags him to the objects. It is this desire, the enemy, transforms into anger if he does not get the desire fulfilled. And then he becomes more sinful. Therefore, the desire is to be understood as the product of Rajoguna. It simply destroys the man and is an enemy of Jnana Yoga. How does desire harm? Arjuna asks, please tell me the process. Oh, Kaunteya, now he says, Kundi Kolandai, Kaunteya, the child of Kunti, just as the smoke covers the fire, the dirt dims or dulls the mirror, the fetus, the womb, the uterus envelops the fetus, the desire engulfs, covers the beings, the Atma, the people. Knowledge regarding the Jivatma is completely covered, veiled from the beings whose essential attribute to knowledge by the enemy called desire. So, here he gives 3 examples. The smoke covers up the fire, and the dirt dims the mirror, and the womb envelops a fetus. Desire is what entraps the person's senses, his mind, is intellect, the body which is complete, the consisting of senses. Above the body is the mind, above the mind is the intellect. And it prevents, the desire prevents him from doing the right thing. Dhumena avriyate vannihi yata adarisha malena cha yata vulbena avrit garpaha tata tene idamavritam. So the first example, smoke covers the fire. The smoke arises along with the fire. The desire arises in the being within us due to the beginningless karma vasana. Beginningless karma vasana, it is difficult to get rid of. The habit is very difficult to remove. I have told several times. If you remove H, a bit remains. If you remove A, bit remains. If you remove B, it remains. Difficult to remove. So it clears, it will not get cleared. The vasanas, smoke clears away by a whiff or a breeze. So this may be likened to a sattvic desire, the desire. The smoke, if you blow, the smoke will go. The second one, the dirt from the mirror. It forms again and again. The mirror, the dirt comes and again, every day you have to wipe. So dusty. The rajasic desire, it requires effort to get rid of. The third one, the fetus cannot break itself from the womb until the time comes, until that it's due for delivery. We cannot liberate ourselves. We have to wait with patience. The desire will be there. It's like a wheel. When you are riding the bicycle, you stop pedaling, but the cycle will keep going, the wheel will keep going for even 50 meters, 100 meters until it comes to a complete halt. This is likened to the tamasic desire that does not go away easily at all unless expelled in due time by the grace of God. So here indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhyah param manaha manasatu para buddhi yo buddhe paratu stusaha. The 42nd shloka, it mentions here. He says, desire with its leaning towards sense objects. The senses, mind and the intellect, interacting with the material world, it deludes the self. It completely distracts, it attracts the mind, the desire. Because the intellect can distinguish between what is good and bad. But the intellect is brushed aside by the mind because it is pulled by the vasanas, by the desire. So, Arjuna, I will tell you more important of the enemies of knowledge. Listen. He says, the senses are supposed to be important enemies of jnana. The mind is superior to the senses and the intellect is more superior to the mind. Realizing that, desire is even greater enemy than intellect. So, controlling the intellect, the mind through the spiritual force, destroy the desire. Control the intellect, the mind and the senses. Control the desire with the spiritual help, spiritual force. Control, destroy the cruel enemy, desire. All that he tries to say is, it is extremely difficult to control the desire on your own. Ask me, surrender to me, or focus, concentrate, just like what you and I are doing now. Recite Vishnu Sahasranama. That is why the acharyas, the scholars, the Vaidikas, what they do, right in the morning when they get up at 4:30, they start with Hari Hari Hari. They do their snanam. They perform the anushtanams. They after doing the sandhya vandanam, they do the japam. Then they study the scriptures. Then they collect the articles for the puja. In the meanwhile, at home they perform, they cook the prasadam for the Lord. They do the puja. After doing the madhyanigam, they do the aradhanam. Then they teach, or they write, or they study, or they listen from the acharya, whatever. Then in the evening they do the sayam sandhya vandanam, recite Vishnu Sahasranamam, partake the prasadam for dinner, and then end up going to bed with yoga nidra, meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. So, like a sangili, like a chain, they occupy themselves one after the other. You may say, I have to do work, I have to go to school, I have to go to the office. Right. Each of them, Krishna says, do it as an offering to me. In between office and the work and the studies, we look at the phone, the Instagram, the reels, 80% of the time. Remaining 20% only we do our work, actual what we are supposed to do. And that work, if we do, maximize as an offering to Him. He never says, you don't stop, you stop going to the office or work or studies or whatever. Do it as an offering. Thereby, the result, the papam or punyam arising out of that also is you are absolved of that. Enough said. Do I practice? No. Let us rededicate ourselves to practicing this. Dhanyosmi. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimati Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha.